Hey, welcome to A Real Point of View out there. Sorry we're a little late. We got to start a little late, had some technical difficulties, but we're here and ready to talk about some movie stuff. My name is Greg Morgan. I'm the host here at A Real Point of View, and I'm joined by my co-host, the lovely and vivacious and wonderful Miss Karen D, who is the movie maven. And later on, we'll be joined by um, one of our critics at large, Stephen C. And but he'll join us later. But tonight, right now, we're up and running, and we're going to talk a little bit about Tom Hanks. We titled the title of our theme for our show tonight is the unfortunate travels with Tom Hanks. I guess it might have been better to say the unfortunate travelers with Tom Hanks. But needless to say, we're going to talk about people in these movies that are traveling with Tom Hanks that maybe they should have thought about it again or took a double take or should have said, wait a minute, where's he going? Instead of following him blindly. So, hey, how you doing, movie Maven? What's going on?
Oh, I was wondering if you were going to ask me. I'm doing fine.
Good,
I
good.
thought you
Yeah.
forgot all about me there for a
Oh,
second.
no, not at all, not at all.
Um,
Just letting our viewers know that we got in here a little late, so we can go ahead
yes,
and
we
get going.
did, and it's my bad. It was my technical difficulties. I'll fall on my own sword. Even
Did
though
you
I like to
sharpen?
think of myself as a tech person, it's just sometimes tech gets even the best of me. So
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's no worries. It's all good. So, how many Tom Hanks movies have can you estimate that you've actually seen here?
that I've seen.
Yeah, just in general.
How many have I seen? Oh, I don't know, maybe 10, 12, something like that, I
Yeah,
guess.
I'm thinking I'm the same way. I'm a pretty good fan of Tom Hanks. I remember him when he was on television. A lot of people might not
Bosom
remember
buddies.
that. Wasn't Buddies, right? And I thought he was pretty funny then, and remembered him from that. And so when he came to onto the movie scene, I wasn't totally oblivious as to who he was. But one of the things I was talking to our uh, critic at large about different things. And we were talking about the movie Scully, for example. And I guess it's a good place to start. One of the most recent movies by Tom Hanks is Scully, where he plays a pilot, commercial airline pilot, that in essence saves all these people on board the plane. So it got us to thinking about, Tom Hanks has been in a lot of movies. And in the realms of a lot of these movies, Tom Hanks is being either traveling with somebody, or someone's coming with him. He, in one of the movies, he brings a group with him. And for whatever reason, many cases, these people are in peril. There's something going on. It's almost like, hey, it's Tom Hanks. You might want to stay away from him because in his movies, he's going to be in trouble. He's on a flight. Everybody's about to, crash, or um,
Or Houston's going to have a problem, or
Houston's
the
going to have a
airport's going to have a
problem.
problem, or the ship's going to have a problem, or
Tom Hanks is going across a bridge of spies, and somebody's trying to jump a wall to get away, and they're having a problem.
he's going to have a problem.
So there's quite a few films that we've come to note that Tom Hanks has had a few issues with people, or I should say, people traveling with or being around while he's going into jungles, while he's even trying just to deliver the mail. Tom Hanks is having some issues. Um, you know, even Da Vinci can't get away from Tom Hanks having issues with people traveling with Tom Hanks. So one of the movies I wanted to look at that I thought was interesting, and I'm going to start with kind of war movies first. There are two war movies that hit me right away with Tom Hanks and this theme of ours, where you might not want to be having traveling with Tom Hanks. And one of them, ironically, came to mind. The first one that came to mind was Saving Private Ryan. Um, but I'm going to start with a different one first. I'm going to start with a movie where you would think everything would just be so nice, just like a bowl of chocolates. Uh, and that's the movie Forrest Gump. Now, I don't know if a lot of people remember in Forrest Gump that Tom Hanks has a problem where I'm going to see if I can bring this picture up. Um, but Tom Hanks plays Forrest Gump in the movie. Now, most of the things that we see about Forrest Gump is he's a nice guy, he's quiet, he's a little bit, he has a disability, a learning disability that has hindered him a little bit, but, you know, um, pretty nice guy. But it wasn't such that he wasn't drafted into the army, and so one of the people that he befriends while he's in the army is another guy who seems like he's in a similar motif. And I'm trying to find this picture real quick if I can. Um, and this is one of those movies where um, you might not want to be hanging out and traveling with Tom Hanks' character, in this case, Forrest Gump. And he finds a friend named Bubba. Now, he and Bubba, if people remember who've actually seen the film, he and Bubba befriend each other. Bubba has this dream of opening this shrimp restaurant. All different types of shrimp, broiled shrimp, fried shrimp, um, honeysuckle shrimp, you name it, he's thinking about shrimp. And yet, here it is, a movie with Tom Hanks where you might have just wanted to not be hanging around him. For example, we've got,
Ouch.
we've got Tom Hanks and Forrest Gump is in the war in Vietnam, and his friend Bubba's with him, and sadly, Bubba takes a few rounds, as you can tell, he's bleeding pretty bad.
Right.
And, Tom is trying to save him, but even in trying to save him, you're thinking, you might want to put me down, let somebody else pick me up, and take me other than you, Forrest, because you know people hanging around you kind of dangerous. So I just wanted to bring that up, thinking, okay, this is pretty tough. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we start finding these movies that Tom Hanks is in, very good actor, that it might be a little dangerous trying to hang around Tom Hanks. Now, any of the movies that you saw, Karen, that you were thinking the same thing or something similar?
Well, you mentioned Sully, and I was I haven't seen the whole movie, but I've seen most of the movie.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I was watching it when we began this podcast. But that I mean that's that movie where they've got Tom Hanks and white hair and that white mustache and looking pretty close to the actual Charles Sullenberger. I think that's his real name. But I mean, everyone calls him Sully, but looking very much like the actual real life person. Of course, this movie's based on a real life incident that happened. I want to. When did this plane incident happen?
I don't remember the date of the house. I mean, the note is obviously a 2016 movie, but well, we can look it
Well, the
up.
movie came out in 2016, but I want to say that the actual uh, crash, not the crash, but the actual um, then I want to say that happened like around 2013.
Okay, so it's fairly recent.
Yeah, fairly recent, but I remember Chesley Sullenberger is his name, and yeah, it was 2009. Okay, I thought it was 2009, but then I wanted to say 2013. So this happened in 2009. And I remember watching the news reports, and I'm sure a lot of us do, seeing the actual news reports about this plane landing on the Hudson River in January.
Mm-hmm.
And the picture of all these people standing on the wings of the plane as it's floating in the Hudson, and just amazing. And the fact that this pilot, after having a horrific strike against his plane from birds that took out both engines, somehow he managed to land the plane in the Hudson. He used it like a runway. And before the plane actually sunk underwater, I mean, planes are made to float. They're built that way, but they can't float forever, of course. So they were standing on the wings of the plane, and then the Coast Guard came in, and first responders and all that, and rescued every single person. Not one person lost a life in this incident, which by rights would have killed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, just from the standpoint of, well, it's Tom Hanks and he's starring as the pilot in this movie. Are you sure you want to get on this plane?
And see, here's the bad part about it. As they're getting on the plane, if you didn't see him while you were waiting for the plane to take off in the waiting room, go with the other pilot onto the plane, you wouldn't have known it was him. See, that's the problem. They didn't see him. So they bought the ticket and said, hey, yeah, this is going to be great. Get to see grandma, get to go home and see dad, see my brothers and sisters. And then someone says, did you see the pilot? No, he's not. They say he's a really good pilot. But they don't see it's Tom Hanks.
There were three guys who really talked their way onto the plane at the last minute because they really wanted to make that flight, and the flight attendant or the reservation agent kind of says, the doors are already closed, but then they were nice guys, and they made her laugh. So she's like, all right, you can go on in. So she gave them seats. And then, 5 minutes into the flight, Tom Hanks comes on, and all he says is, brace for impact. And these guys are looking at each other like, we actually tried to get on this plane. We asked, we begged, we cajoled, we persuaded, we were charming to get on this plane, and if we had just kept our mouths shut,
that's right.
We would be, kicking it back, in the airport bar, waiting for the next plane, which I don't think was landing in Hudson. So I don't know. I'm watching this movie, and let me just say something about the movie itself. I am a fan of Tom Hanks, just like you are, Greg. I really like him. I think he's an excellent actor. He's a 2-time Academy Award winner. And I wouldn't be surprised if he won another Academy Award before he stops acting. He produces a lot of movies. He's a very good producer. I believe he's also been involved in directing. And yeah, I mean, he's really, really talented. And this is a guy who, before Bosom Buddies hit, he was living out of his car because it was that long a space in between acting jobs. Like, he might get something here or there, but then there was a long time in between calls. And so at one point he was actually living in his car. But then Bosom Buddies hit, and he did really good work on that, and he was able to parlay that into a movie career, and he showed his acting chops. So yeah, he's an excellent actor. Unfortunately, and I was really excited about this movie, but unfortunately, I don't think Sully is that good a movie.
Oh wow.
I wanted to like this movie. It's not because Tom Hanks isn't a good actor. He's an excellent actor. Right. It's the script. It's the way in which this movie was conceived, and it's the writing and directing that sinks this movie below the Hudson.
So in this case, accompanying Tom Hanks is the
Hello.
Hey, Steve.
Hello.
Hey, welcome, Steve, to our show here on A Real Point of View. We've got our critic at large, Mr. Stephen C. here. How you doing, Steve?
How's it going?
That's good.
Hey.
Had to had to readjust my settings and everything.
Oh, no worries.
We were just talking about Sully.
And you wanted to sink it down to the bottom of the Hudson. That's what I heard.
No, I'm saying that unfortunately the writing and the directing sank the movie below the Hudson, even though Tom Hanks did a good job with what he was given. It's just not a good movie in my opinion.
So it's not just.
I'm so glad.
So it's not just.
It could very be a
Jinx, buy me a drink.
It could be one of those where it's a good story, but it just doesn't turn out to be a good movie. Like, you can't really put everything into the movie the way it should be as to really tell like a good story out of it, because it might not be something that everybody is exciting to know from start to finish. It could be that kind of movie.
Yeah.
I think the bigness of the story just got away from the writers and the directors, the director and the writers, because this was something that played out in front of the entire world, really, and certainly in front of American movie-going audiences. And the memories of it, even though it happened 7 years ago, were still pretty real. I mean, people would probably recognize Sully if they saw him, and they know exactly what happened that January morning in 2009, and how miraculous it was that he pulled it off, and also just the skill that it took to do that. So trying to capture that in a movie when memories are so vivid is really, really hard. And I think what the director and the writers did, unfortunately, I think they picked the wrong things to dramatize. Like what happened in real life was you had a plane that should have been taken down by this horrific bird strike, because planes have been down for that. They lost both engines, so they shouldn't have been able to land, and they weren't near any airport. But somehow Sully and his co-pilot managed to land this plane on the Hudson. And the real Sully, was not only an aviation, but also a safety expert, had given countless hours of training, had been a pilot for almost 40 years at the time that this incident happened. So it was a miracle on some levels, but also he brought to bear an incredible amount of experience and just, and talent to that situation. And trying to capture that in film, what the directors chose to highlight wasn't so much that, but they tried to play up this really unfortunate angle of the National Transportation Safety Board out on a witch hunt. And it's like, well, they're trying to find somebody to blame because U.S. Airways isn't happy about losing a plane below the Hudson. That was the whole point. It's like, well, you might have saved 155 people, but they lost a plane and it's sinking, and that's really bad. Are you sure? Are you sure you could have taken that plane to LaGuardia? Because you had one engine working, and even though the plane comes with 4 engines, one engine was working. I'm pretty sure you could have landed that bad boy in LaGuardia and saved U.S. Airways a plane. Really, people? Really? Come on.
Well, it goes with the theme. It's not just people traveling with Tom Hanks; it's the travel agency itself. Having Tom Hanks as the pilot just caused a major catastrophe.
Right.
He can't be a passenger. He can't be a pilot. He can't deliver packages. Jesus.
Right. What's wrong with this guy?
You can't even get mail.
I mean,
You,
it's weird.
you don't have mail.
It's weird that he it's weird that he's in all of these movies. It's almost like he handpicks these movies. Like they're, what do you want to be in? Well, I haven't got lost anywhere in a while. Or I haven't been in an area and problems just happen in the area that I'm in.
Well, let's take Castaway for example. Now
Lord.
here, it's
Oh,
not even a
Jesus.
person that's an issue. It's a volleyball. He left that volleyball. The volleyball couldn't even be in the movie with him. He lost Wilson. How do you lose Wilson? Because you're with Tom Hanks in the movie. That's how you lose Wilson.
Yeah, that
saying.
is, wow. Not only did he lost a plane, he lost packages, and he lost Wilson.
That's right.
Well, there was also the whole spaceship thing.
Oh yeah, the spaceship
Houston,
thing.
we have a problem.
Apollo
13.
Yes,
He lost the moon, and he barely made it back alive with the ship, and the ship was not in too good a shape when they landed.
Well, the one thing you can say about Castaway is he was just happier. Apollo 13, and he was a pilot.
Say it again, Steve.
I said the one thing you can say about Castaway, he was just a passenger. He wasn't flying the plane. But
Right.
Apollo 13 and Sully, he was the pilot. He was the guy driving.
Right.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. The Scooby-Doo-ism.
Yeah.
Ruh-roh. Yeah, so here's Tom Hanks in Apollo 13, and he looks stern because he's going to make a wrong turn. I can feel it.
He's like, oh no, I'm the captain of this ship, and I'm the one responsible for getting us home, and I don't think we're going to make it because we're kind of, I don't have a great track record.
Well, this is the beginning of his not great track record.
Right. But he's being stoic because he's not telling those other guys.
Right. I suck at being like a space captain, ship captain here. So
6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon is not going to happen now because he's going to be stuck in that plane. Spaceship Oh, those poor astronauts.
Those poor astronauts. Well, that's why they call it Apollo 13.
Now, speaking of captaining, he does a lot of captaining out there. So now he goes from one captain to another captain.
Yeah.
I tell you, you just cannot ride with this guy.
And after ship.
We didn't hear you, Steve. Go ahead.
Ship. One of the takes up now.
I'm going to let you know, Steve. You're coming across. We're not really hearing you real clear. Try again.
Can you hear me?
Right. One more time, brother.
Yes.
Now,
Can you hear me?
We're getting every other word.
No, I don't know what to do. Hold that up.
well, we'll continue on while. I'm glad I'm not the only one having technical issues.
No worries. But yeah, we've got the movie Captain Phillips here, and so Tom Hanks is a captain out in the big ocean, and for some reason people want to get on this boat with him. Now, if I was these guys, even though I've got a gun, even though it seems like I'm taking over the boat, they didn't realize this is Tom Hanks playing the character of Captain Phillips. It's not John Wayne. It's not Burt Lancaster. It's Tom Hanks playing Captain Phillips, which means something's going to happen to y'all.
Yeah.
You are not safe like you think you are on this boat with Tom Hanks.
Also, this was an American ship, and an American ship had not been subject to a pirate attack in over 200 years until this happened.
Hi.
And guess who's the captain? And guess who was the captain? It was Tom Hanks.
No. And then these pirates are like, hey, we do this all the time in the Caribbean. And we're, what? I'm sorry, huh? Who's Tom Hanks? Who's Captain Phillips? This guy? We're not worried about this guy. Huh? Going to jail? The Coast Guard? You're with Tom Hanks? Something's going to go awry.
What do you mean they tricked us?
Right? It's like, this is Tom Hanks. You are not getting off this boat without some issues.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, that was
a pretty good. It was actually a very good movie.
Yeah, that one I liked, and it's interesting because that's a movie that again profiled a real life situation, something that played out on the world stage, because really an American ship had not been the subject of piracy for over 200 years, and you had these pirates off the coast of Somalia, you know, attacking these ships. And there'd been like a number of ships attacked and sometimes people killed, people taken hostage, never from the US, but from, you know, from European countries and that sort of thing. And then this, you know, this ship comes along, and it's just a typical cargo ship. Mm-hmm. You know, they're bringing fresh water and food and, you know, a bunch of other things. And the Somalis think, hey, if we can get a hold of this ship, we can get millions of dollars, and you know, and then we'll be good to go. And they'd gotten millions of dollars from other ships before, but somehow the writer and director of this movie, I think they did a better job of picking the right things to dramatize and of sort of and maybe because, you know, there were guns or whatever, it was more of a tense situation. What struck me about Sully was that what they were trying to dramatize really wasn't that dramatic. Like when you have pilots going over cargo manifest, or not cargo manifest, but when they go over like flight logs, or when they're doing a check-in pre-flight, that's not exciting. It's not supposed to be. If it's exciting, you're in trouble. Okay. Right. And like the ship, when you've got pirates and these skiff boats, you know, approaching this huge freighter, that in and of itself is dramatic. And it's just like, oh my God. And they let the director and the writer for this movie let that drama speak for itself. And I think in Sully, they tried too hard to create drama when the situation was already dramatic. Right. And we were just happy we just wanted to see the whole plane, like what happened from the beginning to the end. And we would have been happy with that, but they overthought it, I think. But Captain Phillips, they didn't overthink it. They did. Paul Greengrass was the director, and Billy Ray wrote the screenplay. It was based on the captain's book. Richard Phillips was the captain, and he wrote a book called A Captain's Duty: Somali Pirates, Navy SEALs, and Dangerous Days at Sea. So, you know.
With Tom Hanks.
Huh?
With Tom
Say that
Hanks.
again. Or
with
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
With Tom Hanks, yes. Yeah. So I don't know. It's crazy. And the other thing too is that like these ships had no arms, wasn't even locked down. So
yeah.
Pretty ripe for the taking. I mean, I guess it was relatively easy to board that ship, even though it's huge. These Somali pirates just have a lot of nerve, and they would just like throw some ropes and then jump over to the side and then scamper up. And I'm like, really? Oh my God. But they only had $30,000 on board. And the Somalis were like, we want 10 million. Well, first we wanted 30 million, but we'll take 10. And they're like, well, we've got, 30,000. You know, why would you
enough to
take
get
that?
bail.
Yeah, right. Right. That. Right, exactly. Oh my gosh. But yeah,
And
this is a
then,
much better movie than Sully.
and then there's Tom Hanks.
And then there's Tom Hanks.
It always circles back to Tom Hanks.
It does. Because here's another movie where, like, if it was another pilot, I mean, another person who was the captain of the boat, he might have got away with it. Like not with Tom Hanks.
No,
When
not
you're
with
traveling
Tom.
with Tom Hanks, even if you're forcibly traveling yourself with Tom Hanks, because they didn't have to. That was their choice. Well, you see what happened.
Okay, some of them did want to leave after, you know, after the, like, because there were like two pirate attacks. It was the first attack, and which wasn't so successful, and so the pirates kind of said, well, we're going to regroup and try this again. So they went back, kind of regrouped, then they came back again, and you know, and Tom Hanks is meanwhile on the first attempt. He's like, "Listen, I think we're being attacked by pirates," and it's like getting, you know, Muzak sleepyhead. Okay, la di da di da. Okay, well, you know, don't worry. You know, lock everything down. You'll be safe. You're in a big fat ship, and they can't get to you at all. And you know, Tom Hanks is like, look, I think, you know, they got guns and they're really coming for us. We'll send somebody right down, but lock everything down. Don't worry, you know, and sing a song or something, you know. Oh, okay. So they come back again and get onto the ship, and they made it on. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, that Bobby McFerrin music just didn't quite lend itself to the movie, did it? Don't worry,
No, it did not. Right. Don't worry. But in between the first and the second time, I think some of his crew were like, I didn't sign up for this. All I want to do is just, you know, be a sailor on a ship and to deliver some food to some people who might need some food. I'm not putting up with pirate crap because they have guns. We don't even get to have guns.
Yeah, it's a little late night now, though, isn't it?
Right. Well, Tom Hanks, and I think he had to. I think in the movie he gives a speech where, you know, he's like, well, you know, we didn't see this happening, even though they were, you know, sailing along Somalia, which was the hotbed of pirate activity. But hey, whatever. We didn't see this coming, and you know, if you really want to go, we're going to have to get all the way back to Mombasa before you can fly back. And if you want to travel with me to Mombasa, you take your chances. So.
Right. So Steve,
Can't take Tom Hanks anywhere.
Yeah, no, you can't.
So Steve, any movies out there that facilitate our theme that you've thought about Tom Hanks, i.e. not being able to take him anywhere or him taking other people's places?
Well, these don't particularly have Tom Hanks really him going somewhere and then things happening. He gets drawn into them, but the Da Vinci Code, the Angels and Demons, it follows him. And he plays a picture in that. And it's just like, oh, well, this is happening. Tom Hanks shows up. Oh, it's worse. The Da Vinci Code, like nobody, one of the, I can't think of his name, but the guy that's chasing them around really doesn't even get called into real, like you see him called into action in the movie till Tom Hanks shows up, and it's like, oh, well, there's this guy that's chasing him and is trying to kill him now.
See?
Even though he had already killed somebody earlier. But it's just like, oh, well, that forefront Tom Hanks.
See, that's the crazy essence, isn't it? Now I have a movie. That I thought was pretty interesting, and in this movie, Tom Hanks puts not himself in peril, not just himself in peril, but he even puts his child in peril, and that's Road to Perdition.
Oh Lord.
So here's a movie where we've got Tom Hanks, one of my favorite actors, being facilitated with another one of my favorite actors in Jude Law. Tom Hanks is a pretty much a right hand ruffian of a mobster, and so he's changing his ways a little bit, and so uh, there's a hit out on him, and the guy who's putting the hit out, who's gonna facilitate the hit, is Jude Law's character. Well, he finds, like the rest of us, when you're in a Tom Hanks movie with Tom Hanks, you're gonna have some problems. So he's trying to catch him in this car. He's trying to catch him walking across the street. He's trying to catch him in all these different places, and it's becoming actually probably for Jude Law's character a little bit of a bore. That he has to keep trying to find this guy, and every time he goes into a situation trying to get Tom Hanks, he's the one who keeps getting hurt. Why? Because you're traveling in a car chasing Tom Hanks, and you should leave him alone because you didn't realize that you're in this movie with him and his son. So Road Perdition, another movie. Shouldn't be messing with Tom Hanks because it's going to give you a problem. You might not be traveling with him, but you're traveling after him, and that still puts travel in there, and travel causes issues in Tom Hanks. I always thought that was pretty good.
He was the nicest hitman ever.
Yeah, pretty much. What were you going to say, Steve?
It's just Tom Hanks, and not just, you can't be around him. You just can't do it. And it's like, if anything bad's gonna happen, it's gonna happen when Tom Hanks is there. It's
but it won't happen to Tom. It'll happen to you.
Yeah. You see Tom Hanks? Run. You hear his voice? Run.
Even the Green Mile. No, they weren't gonna. They weren't gonna. They weren't gonna put the prisoner and take him to truly the death row until Tom Hanks showed up. And Tom Hanks made him think that he was his friend. And yet, that didn't matter.
Nope. Michael Clark Duncan.
Just changed him up. Changed him up and said, hey, it's time to go, big guy. Time to go.
And there he went.
It's like, wait a minute. Who are you? Are you Tom Hanks? Oh my God, you're Tom Hanks. No, I get it. Now I know. Oh, the horror.
Toy Story?
Yeah. To infinity and beyond.
Oh, they made 3 movies about the adventures of Cowboy Tom Hanks.
They did. They did.
People go crazy around him. Things happen around him that are just unforeseeable circumstances. People getting shot at.
Dinosaurs falling on the ground, can't pick themselves up.
Oh my God.
Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head
just going everywhere. Buzz turns into Mrs. Nesbit.
Buzz Lightyear.
Oh.
Why are toys breaking? Tom Hanks isn't a cowboy. He's
in the movie. He's a cowboy. Did you?
Well, there is a movie where he actually did manage to actually save the life of somebody. The movie Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
He played Carl Hanratty, the FBI agent. He actually saved Frank Abagnale Jr.'s life by arresting him and throwing him into a U.S. prison. But he got him from a French prison where he was literally starving to death and sick. And he got him into a nice U.S. prison where he could get all better.
And
but he couldn't catch him.
The point
until they already had him caught.
But the point is, he doggedly went after this guy and got him. After this guy was not only traveling, he was an airline pilot. Fictitious one, of course.
Pilot. He was
one, of course. But he was an airline pilot, and he still couldn't get away from Tom Hanks throughout all of that movie.
And he became a lawyer. He became a lawyer and couldn't talk his way away from Tom Hanks in the movie.
I'm telling you. Talking about, and It is funny because when you were saying that, Karen, I thought you were talking about Saving Private Ryan. He went
Oh,
out to
no.
do
I was
the
hoping
really
we were
good
going to lead
thing.
into this. Yes, let's talk about all those soldiers that traveled with Tom Hanks.
Oh, Lord.
Who didn't make it.
Yeah, I'm sure they enjoyed the travels of Mr. Tom Hanks.
So here's Vin Diesel in one of his early films, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna follow you. I'm gonna go with you, Tom Hanks. I'm gonna follow you. We're gonna find this kid so we can get him home. Since 7,852 of his brothers and sisters have already been killed in the war, he's the only one left. We're gonna go find this guy, and we're gonna. Oh, what a nice little girl. She's a little French bang."
That's exactly how that happened too. It was that is shot for shot the scene and script of the movie.
It is. It was just so sad. I'm like, hey, Vin Diesel's in the. Oh, no, you're not.
The only good thing that happened in that movie is Matt Damon wasn't around with Tom Hanks. The guy that they were saving didn't get to Tom Hanks till the very end. That's the only thing.
And you know what stopped this, Steve? Tom Hanks had gotten shot. See, you have to wound Tom Hanks in order to survive in his presence. He had gotten shot, and that's when he found Private Ryan. See, so he saved Private Ryan's life, lost his life in the role, but see, he had gotten shot. And so if you shoot the Tom Hanks character, then some of you who are left, because there was a lot of people that went with him that did not survive, but that was prior to Tom Hanks being shot, that if you shoot Tom Hanks or if you muzzle him, if you put him in a sack, something like that, that deflects the other people that could survive. And that's how Matt Damon survived, as Private Ryan in that movie.
Well, doing military movies with Tom Hanks and people dying, he was also a writer on Band of Brothers.
Yep.
And he was the narrator of Pacific. So a whole bunch of young military dudes got taken away in those two movies.
You can't have Tom Hanks' name associated with you.
Ooh, that's rough. I mean, we're talking about a whole band of brothers. He got taken out in that movie. They had to make it. That was Tom Hanks was the producer. They made a mini series, and he took a whole bunch of guys out in those movies.
I mean, if we can realistically go back to one of the very beginnings of Tom Hanks's career and talk about Bachelor Party.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! I forgot about Bachelor Party. We're talking about that was like in the 80s.
I have heard and been a part of many a Bachelor Party in my lifetime, and I have never seen one like that in any way, shape, form, or facet, even close. And it's only because of Tom Hanks.
It is. Well, you remember was it? Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
Donkeys doing drugs. Just insanity.
Well, what was the one? What was it? It wasn't Joe and the Volcano. What was it?
Joe versus the Volcano.
Yeah, Joe versus the Volcano.
See, Volcano couldn't even survive. Tom Hanks in the movie.
You can't. It's impossible.
And what about Daryl Hannah? She said, "Forget this. I'm jumping in the water. I'm getting away from this guy." And he's like, "No, you're not. Splash is my movie. You're not getting away from me in Splash." And she didn't. And she's a mermaid. She's a mermaid.
Actually, he became a merman. Remember?
A mermaid.
Wait. Turner and Hooch.
Oh, you can't even be a dog around Tom
You
Hanks.
cannot be a dog around Tom Hanks.
Hooch didn't last. He had to get another Hooch.
He did at the very end of the movie. He got another Hooch. It was like he can replicate Hooch.
So we know that one Hooch didn't make it. So he's gonna have Hooch 2 not make it. We never got to see that sequel because Hooch 2 didn't make it.
Well, Hooch 2 was like, no, I ain't doing no.
He's like, I'm not gonna get you.
You're gonna be a star. You're gonna be the new Lassie. We're gonna get you in movies with Tom Hanks. Somebody fire my manager. I'm not working for this production company anymore. No,
I saw
this
it
ain't
happen to
happening.
I saw it happen to my uncle.
No, we're done. I've had enough.
I'm
I don't need the money. It's okay.
not gonna do it. Not gonna do
Oh my god! Oh my god!
it. What about the money pit?
Well, he
Oh
wasn't
no.
going anywhere. There were no travels associated with the money
Well,
pit.
sure. He traveled with his wife to get the new house, and then they had the big old hole. in the
Yeah,
middle of the house.
that was a scary movie. I mean, if you were about to buy a house around that time, which was
I was.
1986,
Well, I wasn't then. I was a few years later. Actually.
no,
But still, I'm just saying.
you're going to buy a house in 1986. I'm sure you thought long and hard after seeing that movie because that was a horror movie for home buyers.
That's true.
It was. It was. What about Antonio Banderas? Forgot about that, didn't you?
Oh, in
Okay.
Philadelphia?
Tom Hanks, Antonio Banderas bit the dust. That's a Tom Hanks. I'm just saying. He didn't last that movie because Tom Hanks.
Antonio Banderas survived Philadelphia?
I know he did, but his association with Tom Hanks gave him pause.
Oh.
Denzel Washington was thinking, should I defend this guy? I want my career to thrive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be hanging around this guy. This Tom Hanks in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that wasn't the biggest problem with that movie, but I digress.
Okay, how about this one?
Nothing
My
in common.
name is Viktor Novorosky. And I'm in this country. I do not know where I'm going, how I'm going to get there. So you're going to have a terminal all to yourself, buddy.
Yeah. Right.
We're gone.
That's
We're
the
done.
ultimate
Game over.
travel movie.
Because we are not
Is that
going
Tom Hanks
anywhere
trying to
near
pretend to be
you.
somebody else?
No, I think he was just a foreign, wasn't he a foreign
Yeah.
dissident?
Yeah.
He's just like, no, don't get close to that dude, because if you do, you're going to be messed up.
And
So-
we'll shut down the whole airport.
We shut down this whole just because of that guy.
Right. The
See?
one guy who was
One
played by
guy,
Tom Hanks.
Hey, the Burbs.
The Bribes.
Him moving into the cul-de-sac just so happens to be people are killers next door. Come on. Doing crazy things like just stuff that you don't even think killers would be doing, and it's just like, wow, this is only Tom Hanks would move next to these people.
Right. And yet causes them issues because he moves next door.
Exactly. They were fine till Tom Hanks moved in next door.
They were.
And what about Charlie Wilson?
Oh, Charlie Wilson's War.
Look what happens when Tom Hanks tries to help people.
Right.
Look what Tom Hanks does when he tries to help people. I'm going to help the Middle East. What does the Middle East do? Turning on you. We on the other side of the coin. Y'all have Tom Hanks? We're taking you out now.
Right.
Well, what about volunteers? He was trying to help somebody there too.
Oh, yeah, nope.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't
Can't
do
help
it.
Tom Hanks.
Now, Julia Roberts thinks that traveling with Tom Hanks was a good idea.
Thinks
Really did.
is the opportune word.
It is thinks. Now, first of all, we know that Tom Hanks doesn't have a license to drive a motor scooter. But she didn't know that. So she got on the back of it anyway. Now, she also didn't know that Tom Hanks' neighbors are trying to move and everything, but they're criminals. So she didn't know that either. Tom Hanks' neighbors. Again, neighbors again. In Larry Crown. Okay? Tom Hanks and Larry Crown. He's a student. Yeah, right. He's a student trying to get a degree. He's 1,000 years old. Wrong. He's Larry Crown. I'm just saying. And I'm not pushing this. It's just reality. It is reality. I'm telling you.
He killed the remake of Dragnet.
Oh, that was a bad movie.
See, and Tom Hanks.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Yep. Tom Hanks. Dun, dun, dun,
But on the
dun,
other
dun,
side, what about Sleepless in Seattle? That
Well-
remake of An Affair to Remember.
It's an affair. It was Tom Hanks.
But see, here's the problem. They would have been awake if Tom Hanks hadn't been in the movie.
It was such a sweet movie.
It wouldn't have been Sleepless in Seattle. It would have been
Sleepy in
Awake
Seattle.
It would have been Awake on the Shores of Washington. A totally different movie. They'd have got together sooner, had some kids. Would have had to meet in some lofty old, what is the tower where they could have fell off and not just killed themselves, but somebody who's standing below taking pictures of the tower could be killed.
True.
I'm just saying. And I don't know. Come on. Tom Hanks romantic, how? You get in a romantic movie with Tom Hanks, you could be risking your life. I'm just saying.
Well, there was a lot of flying back and forth.
I can only really think of two Tom Hanks movies where it doesn't end tragically.
Out of 765,452 movies, Steve?
Yes, there's really only two.
Which two did you find?
Yeah. One of them, which actually has some tragedy to it and some drama, so to speak, That Thing You Do. The
movie about the musical group.
He finds the wonders.
I know he finds the wonders, but they had issues.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't their manager, they might not have had those issues. Because they wouldn't have been able to bring them out and understand what they truly were. He gave them pause. He gave them the reality of their issues. See, before they had him as a manager, they were just frivolous. Once he became a manager, now it all made sense. They had to focus.
Yeah, that's true.
That's because of his character. They had to focus.
Well, Steve only had two movies and he just shot one down.
I know. So I'll try with this last one. I'm really going to try with this last one.
All right.
A League of Their Own.
Hey.
There's no crying in baseball.
There isn't.
But there is.
Well, there's crying around Tom Hanks anyway.
That's my point.
Tom Hanks calls the crying of baseball.
See, traveling does take place in this movie. When they hit the ball travels.
When they get on their bus and go to the other
game. And see, it's Tom Hanks. He has a lot of money. How come they had to take a bus?
Oh.
How come they couldn't fly? Oh, because then he would have had to change the Scully, and they'd end up in the Hudson. There's no crying in baseball. There's no crying because you're in the water in the Hudson. That's enough tears for everybody. And then they would have been on the wing of the plane, right? What's a baseball team doing on the wing of a plane? Answer me that.
I can't answer you that. And
that's my point.
Well, sadly, there's actually not a point anywhere near this podcast. But
I'm just saying, one of those ladies' cousins' name was Private Ryan. Okay.
Oh.
And so he got off the wing of the plane and went back in time to save her cousin. Now he's Captain Ryan.
Oh,
they changed his name to protect the innocent, and he ended up on the boat as Captain Phillips instead. That's where this is going. This is like a melting pot of people that are associated with Tom Hanks.
It's like a mystery wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a candy bar, wrapped in a cookie crunch.
Which is what the Da Vinci Code is. There's a conspiracy here.
Oh, yes.
What about the mini travels of Forrest Gump?
Hey, life is like a bowl of chocolates.
A bowl?
Well, look, all I can say
Box of chocolates. He's mixing his metaphors, which often happens when he gets really excited.
I'm just saying, Forrest ran a long time. He ran so long that he ended up as Castaway. It's the same beard. Okay? We don't need to have a whole bunch of props. Tom Hanks has his props at home. It's the same beard.
Oh my God.
It's the same beard. Okay? He said, run, Forrest, run. Yeah. He could have been a football star, but he kept running out the stadium.
Traveled to
Alabama. And where's the volleyball? From football to volleyball. Wilson!
He cost Lieutenant Dan his legs.
Yeah, he cost Lieutenant Dan his legs. Well, he could have fought Vietnam by himself. Gee, Manetly. Now we can't have no scrimps.
Well, he stole the scripts.
He stole
the business.
He did.
He stole the business.
But see, that was the intent the whole time. He knew Bubba wasn't going to last in Vietnam. He took that idea and took it and made money.
Yeah, he took it and he ran with it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Lieutenant Dan didn't have no legs and he ran all.
Bam, mind's blown, game over. Tom Hanks, using left and right.
Left, oh my goodness. That's just wrong, y'all.
Been using people since 1996. Whew.
I'm just saying. And what a lady killer.
Hey, Tom Hanks,
What a lady.
avoid him. Leave.
What a lady killer.
Oh.
Mm.
I didn't kill anybody, ma'am. I don't know what's in your basement. Yeah, Tom. Right. Ah. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
Showing your butt to the president. Whew.
And transferring thieves across enemy lines.
Oh, yeah. Nope. Mm-mm.
What's that all about, Mr. Tom Hanks? Oh, you're a lawyer now. No, you're not even a lawyer. You're an insurance broker. What? When do you get an insurance broker? When do you get an insurance broker to broker a deal about spies? Well, you do if it's Tom Hanks.
Right. If your insurance man is Tom Hanks, that's who you get.
That is what you get if your insurance man is Tom Hanks.
Because you know the Russians don't have a chance against Tom Hanks.
They don't.
No one has a chance against Tom. Space does not have a chance against Tom Hanks.
No, space does not.
The final frontier. Boldly go where no man. Oh, Tom Hanks. He was in Apollo 13. Never mind.
You know what? You could have put Tom Hanks in a red shirt on Star Trek, and Tom Hanks wouldn't have died.
Oh. So the red shirt guys always the one that get killed.
Red shirt guys always die.
Did you guys ever see?
You speak the truth.
Did you ever see the movie Galaxy Quest?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that movie.
Where the guy is
never give up, never surrender.
It's like a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, it is.
Love that movie. That movie was hilarious.
It is. But do you remember the guy, the person named Guy? Yeah, I've been in the such episode. Well, but wait a minute. The guy who's a perky guy, he's the one that gets killed all the time. Oh, I thought that was hilarious. Oh, so yeah. So if you see Tom Hanks signing a contract for the next Star Wars, don't go.
Ooh, I don't know.
No one's gonna survive the film, but the audience.
Oh my God, the world will be overran by droids
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh, that's funny.
the droids have no life for Tom Hanks to take.
Well, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
So Tom Hanks is the new Darth Vader. Darth Hanks.
Hanks Vader.
Crazy.
And beyond.
Luke, I'm not your father. I got a bowl of chocolates.
No, he tells him it's Luke. I'm Tom Hanks. That's the whole reason. He went, no,
You're right. I'm not your father. I'm Tom Hanks.
and then that's when Luke chooses to fall down the chute to his death.
May the force be with me. With you.
I need my agent.
Where's a lightsaber when you need one?
Wow.
And as you're listening to us rant and rave here about Tom Hanks, we actually like him as an actor. We think he's a very good actor. We just think that
All
other
of his
people
movies are good.
Yeah, most of them are. I don't say all, but most of them.
I wouldn't say all. I would say it's actually, when I looked at his body of work, I'm like, there's some clunkers in here.
There are.
Yeah.
Some of those people survive.
What actor doesn't?
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to try to find the movie that's going to be your coup de grace, and it doesn't always come up with to be the first few movies, but eventually.
But even the movies that weren't good, it wasn't because of his work that they weren't good. He's almost always excellent. And I mean, I can't really think of a movie where he's done a bad acting job. It's not him. It's just some of the vehicles he chooses or that are chosen for him seem like they're going to be awesome, and then they're not awesome. Like, how about incredibly loud up close and incredibly loud, or whatever that one, or Cloud Atlas? Two clunky movies, but not because of his work.
Here's the problem with Cloud Atlas. Halle Berry was in that movie too, right?
Yep.
Well, there was a bunch of different people.
But I'm just saying, Halle Berry is kind of a 50-50. Because, see, like, she's kind of like Tom Hanks-esque. Because a lot of people be in movies with her and they don't survive either. Did you see Catwoman? Did you see Catwoman?
Oh my God! Hey, whoa! Let us not ever bring up that movie on the show ever again.
Okay.
What, Catwoman?
Hey.
Yeah. That's
Steve started.
That's like a cardinal.
Steve started to sound like
people
Tom
just
Hanks right
quit
now,
viewing. People just quit viewing the show because you mentioned Catwoman.
Wow.
That movie. Oh my God! You know what? We're talking about Tom Hanks. I'm not going into that.
Okay, I was going to say one other thing. She did better in the Marvel movie than she did in the DC. That's all I was going to go.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
All right. How about them Cubs?
Yeah, how about them? How about Tom Hanks?
Haven't they choked yet?
Nope, they beat the Giants the other day. I don't know about the last couple of days.
The Cubs are still.
Cubs are
Nationals lost their first round, so they're out.
Yeah, Cubs are playing the Dodgers.
I understand you're in DC here.
Yeah, they're going to choke.
But you are
She's calling it.
But you are from Chicago.
I know, and they're going to choke.
Look.
Tom Hanks will probably be at the game.
Oh, somebody call Tom Hanks and get him to that Game 7. Ooh. And have him wearing all Cubs gear. The pants, the socks, the shirt, the hat. Get one of the foam fingers for the Cubs.
Right. And he can stand up and say, "There's no crying in baseball," and
While they're
that'll be
all
she
crying as
There'll
they
be a lot of crying then, wouldn't it?
wrote. There'll be a lot of crying, yes.
Oh, so much crying.
Our poor friend Bill, who
Who will also be crying.
would totally be crying.
Oh, it'll be a sad day.
It's that day. And he always smiles. So he's just the nicest guy on the earth. And yet he's a Cub fan, and that could be crucial. Could be crucial, especially if Tom Hanks shows up. Tom Hanks shows up, it could be crucial.
I'm a underdog fan. I do like underdog teams, underdog stories. I was rooting for the Red Sox when they were going to win the World Series and break the curse of the Babe. I'm rooting for the Cubs this year till I saw a guy 2 weeks ago get a tattoo of Cubs 2016 World Champions.
Seriously?
I can like, it's no longer, I can no longer, like, if the Cubs win, great, but I'm no longer rooting for the Cubs just so this guy has the embarrassment on his arm. Till he either gets it lasered off or gets it covered up, and turning a 6 into a 7 is going to make a botched job. So all I'm saying is, like, when you go too far, I can't do that, like Tom Hanks.
Right.
But you know, the guy who tattooed him.
Tom Hanks for the Cubs. Tom Hanks could have tattooed that guy's arm.
I'm just thinking, the guy's initials who tattooed the guy was TH. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying.
So if you're going to be watching Tom Hanks movies, ladies and gentlemen, there's an array of movies that he's made, and many of them are really, really, really good, because he is a fine actor. But if you're an actor out there or an actress out there, director, film producer, and you're going to do a movie with Tom Hanks, just beware.
You're going to die.
Just beware that it could be at your own peril. You might not die. You might only come close to death, i.e. like Scully, where you're sitting on top of the Hudson instead of underneath it. And so eloquently put. But it's at your own risk and at your own peril.
Or you might have to just make sure Tom Hanks gets shot, and then you'll be fine.
Yes, or someone kidnaps him, puts a bag over his head. You can at least get past him that way.
Strand him on an island. The world probably, like, stock prices went up. The NASDAQ was good while he was on that island in Castaway. Like crime went down. Just all sorts of stuff like that happened. And then he came back, and it was like, Tom Hanks is back.
Without Wilson.
No. I can't believe. Just, let's all have a moment of silence for Wilson.
Let's do 2 minutes.
All right, enough of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yes.
Seriously.
Post a YouTube video and not talk. Yeah, let's see how far this gets. We're just gonna post an hour-long moment of silence for Wilson. It's the tennis ball, or I said it wrong. It's the volleyball with the face painted on it and the headdress, and it's just that picture the whole time. No one saying a word.
Right.
Well,
great graphics, though.
Hey.
Yeah, great graphics. You could do multiple shots of Wilson.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole bunch of talking in Gravity either, but it was an award-winning film. Just saying. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting close to our time, and I think we're, especially me, I'm very loopy right now, as obvious throughout the
It's Hanks' fault.
It's Tom Hanks'. It's definitely Tom Hanks' fault, because that's what the subject is of the show.
Too much hanky-panky going on around here.
Oh, that was a little corny, Karen.
I don't think we can post this on YouTube now.
No, we were talking about baseball, Hank Aaron, but it's all kind of Hanks going right here. And then we can sing a song out at the end of the show. That would be a cowboy song. with Hank Jr. All right. That's
Yeah,
it
you
for me.
said you were getting loopy. Whoa, look at the
All
time.
All right, all right, all right. I get it. Well, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to us here on A Real Point of View, talking about our Tom Hanks angst and all the different films where Tom Hanks was involved, and yet people were in peril the whole time. And even when, as Steve alluded to, he wasn't even starring in the movie; he was the producer or narrating or whatever. So
He was the writer for Band of Brothers. He was a writer. He wrote these people to their deaths.
see, exactly. Good miniseries, but a lot of people didn't make it through it. So, uh, so in parting, we'd like to say thanks for listening to our rant, and hope you had fun. We had fun.
We had fun.
Yeah, this was hilarious. So tune in next time, and we'll hopefully have a wonderful subject for you. And talking about movies, that's what we talk about. And we critique, review, and sometimes sarcastically remark about a lot of films and upcoming features. So stay tuned. We'll have some good stuff for you in the near future. So thanks again for listening to us here on a Real Point of View. Anything else to say? Let's start with you, Steve.
Run from Tom Hanks.
And how about you, Karen?
To infinity and beyond.
and I'm just going to say goodbye. Thanks again for watching, everybody. You take care and get out to the movies when you can. Good night.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, I think we're still live.